Taking place in the Pacific, a coalition of 19 nations is conducting operations in the Pacific. The long snake formation spans 500 kilometers. Over 300 aircraft have been deployed. Countless ships. Can be described as a formidable spectacle. Many fans online have said, "Wow, was this directed at us?" Over the past few years, the U.S. often conducts military exercises, and they are all major powers. Such a big show. Can we handle this? Are we going to take action? Are we really that unpopular? So what now? There is all sorts of talk online, and people are feeling anxious. Isn't it time for me to step in? Confucius mentioned this before. With great power comes great responsibility. What does that mean? It means, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. That is true as well. Spider-Man's uncle's famous last words before he died. So today, I will explain it thoroughly. What is really going on with this military exercise involving the protective blade? First, let us talk about what is going on with the 2025 protective blade. What are they trying to do? Where is the military exercise? How big is the scale of the operation? What is the plan for the exercise? You see, this is called knowing yourself and knowing your enemy. You will never be defeated. First, this protective military knife is jointly led by the United States and Australia. The scope of the exercise extends from Christmas Island in the Indian Ocean all the way along the northern coastline of Australia. It stretches out 500 kilometers to the east, to the northeast of Australia in the Coral Sea. You can take a look at the map. It is quite large, spanning the first and second island chains of the Western Pacific, covering Japan's Okinawa, the Philippine Sea, the waters near Indonesia's Natuna Islands. Although their exercise location is here, however, the tactical strike radius almost encompasses the northern part of the South China Sea. It only includes the northeastern part. If you want to understand this clearly, you must point to the map with your hand. From this exercise area, you can see that it is almost in the southern hemisphere of the Earth. Look, it is right next to Australia, is not it? Whether it is Jakarta, or East Timor, or further east to Papua New Guinea, and even further east to the Solomon Islands. This is the exercise's frontline area. I do not know if anyone has noticed anything. Hey, why is it so far from our home? In the past, exercises were either in the East China Sea or in the South China Sea. At the very least, it should be in the Philippine Sea. But this time, why is it just faintly seeping from afar? So what do you think is the reason? Isn't it because we have gained experience from getting beaten over the past few years? In the last 4 or 5 years, they have not performed a show right at our doorstep. They have not even finished a full act. Either our electronic defense team did not give a heads up, just blended in, or maybe 052D showed up, uninvited. It also joined the exercise. You all can cause trouble. This is just watching the fun. Peeking into someone else's arms. Who can stand this, right? So the big beauty learned from past experiences. Stay away from that panda. This guy, hey, he is not okay. He has to step in and show you a few moves. So this time, let us just go to the southern hemisphere for the exercises. Avoid any bad luck. So this time, the exercise is called Defensive Blade. Just listen to that name, and you will know it is defensive in nature. I am protecting myself. It is purely defensive, and you also saw where I was practicing. That is far away from your panda home. I have retreated to the southern hemisphere. What else do you have to say? Hey look, speaking of which, someone might say, oh, it seems this matter has nothing to do with us. They have retreated all the way to the southern hemisphere. Your attitude is quite good. Maybe we should let them go. Oh, you are wrong about that. This time, the Big Show and Australia, although they moved the exercise zone to the southern hemisphere, the subjects of their exercises and the weapons they use are enough to threaten our current naval warfare. That does not mean everything relying on gunfire is missile-based, and those aircraft from the aircraft carrier, they have a range of over 1,000 kilometers. Moreover, this time the military exercise, the U.S. also sent B-52H strategic bombers, the kind that can carry nuclear weapons. So the purpose of this exercise is very clear. It is still aimed at that panda. It is just that the panda has been too aggressive in recent years. If you get too close, it won't end well. So you should keep your distance. But you need to understand, in naval battles, being far away does not mean you are safe, because out there on the sea, it is wide open. You can go anywhere in a straight line. For example, These warships participating in the exercises are looking at what is happening in the southern hemisphere today. It is possible that by tomorrow afternoon they will have entered the South China Sea. It is a straight line, you see. So once the ships turn around, it is a straight line. There are no obstacles. It won't take more than a few hours. Then it will be in place. Not to mention, this is a joint military exercise involving 19 countries. Oh well, which 19 countries? Let me read them out to you. There's the US, Australia, Canada, and France. Fiji, Germany, India, Indonesia, Japan, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Papua New Guinea, Philippines, South Korea, Singapore, Thailand, Tonga, United Kingdom. Among them, Malaysia and Vietnam are present as observers. These two did not participate. This is not just about the large number of participants. The United States also mentioned that its ground equipments, air defense system, and medium-range missiles are involved in this military exercise. I need to conduct live fire exercises and also carry out testing of the logistics system at the Joint Theater Distribution Center. You see, this exercise has even reached logistics. It is almost like real combat, and in the United States, during this exercise, they also have air power, including F-22 and F-35 fighters, two types of stealth fighters. That strategic bomber not only includes the B-52H, but also the B-1B strategic bomber and the KC-135 refueling aircraft. You could say this is the U.S. Air Force's lineup, except for the B-2 not being here. The ace is in and out, huh? Why is not the B-2 here? It is not that the B-2 is not coming. It is not necessary for that B-2 to come. That B-2 bomber can take off from the U.S. mainland at any time. Global strike, so it does not need to come. As for naval power, the U.S. has deployed the USS Washington Carrier Strike Group. It carries the 5th Carrier Air Wing, including F-18EF fighter jets, ERD Hawkeye early warning aircraft, and that anti-submarine helicopter, a total of more than 70 aircraft. Then the United States also dispatched the USS America amphibious assault ship. This amphibious assault ship has a nickname called Lightning Carrier. We talked about it before. Equipped with the F-35B vertical takeoff and landing 5th-generation fighter jets. There are about 20 of them. Underwater, there are also nuclear submarines. The UK has deployed the HMS Prince of Wales aircraft carrier. It has a displacement of 65,000 tons. Accompanying it is the Type 45 destroyer HMS Daring and the Type 23 frigate HMS Richmond. Along with frigates from Canada, Norway, and New Zealand, Japan has dispatched the Kaga aircraft carrier, equipped with F-35B fighters. Alongside the helicopter carrier Izumo, France has sent the Charles de Gaulle Carrier Strike Group. Germany has deployed the Baden-Württemberg frigate. With a displacement of 7,000 tons, outstanding performance, and behind it, the Frankfurt am Main replenishment ship follows. 20,000-ton class. The remaining ones are from Canada, New Zealand, and Norway. They have respectively dispatched Halifax, as well as Nansen-class and Aegis-class frigates. From this lineup, you could say that the United States and Europe's elite are all present. Even Japan, which usually stays on the sidelines, has sent out its only 2 quasi-aircraft carriers. Look at this scene. Isn't it grand? Why has the U.S. suddenly targeted us? Putting on such a big military exercise, and before this military exercise, they also launched the Pacific Military Exercise. It started on July 10th. More than 300 aircraft, including B-2 bombers and F-35As, are deployed across 16 military bases in Guam and Palau, in coordination with this protective sword. Why is that? Isn't the Middle East calm now? Do you see why I always talk about the Middle East? As long as the Middle East is in chaos, the U.S. can't extricate itself. As long as the Middle East calms down, it is doomed to return to Asia to deal with us. So you see, there are a bunch of idiots online who are always hoping for Iran's downfall. Iran should be eliminated. This regime is too evil. Not to mention whether the Iranian regime is evil or not, but what I know is, Iran is gone. Even the Middle East is no longer in conflict. Then they can focus their energy on dealing with us. That is also why Iran used missiles to blow up that U.S. military base. Then Trump said, "Oh, it is fine. They did not hit anything. It can still be peaceful." Did it really not hit? A couple of days ago, that news came out. It was hit by missiles from Iran. The Al Udeid Air Base. The radar station was taken out. Iran's missile clear last year. Moreover, from the timing of the military forces involved in this exercise, one can determine that it is closely related to the end of the Middle East War. For example, the USS America amphibious assault ship and Australia's HMAS Adelaide strategic projection vessel both set sail from their home ports after June 24th. Entering the Coral Sea designated area through the Torres Strait, the US USS Prince of Wales aircraft carrier group also circumnavigated through the Indian Ocean in late June and arrived in waters off northwestern Australia on July 10th. So you can see that the Middle Eastern conflict has ended, and NATO forces are quickly gathering in Asia after the main warships from the US, UK, and Australia arrived at the designated sea area. Japan's IC-class helicopter carrier and South Korea's Murado-class amphibious assault ship passed through the Bashi Channel to join the U.S. Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group. Forces from Canada, Germany, India, and other countries arrived by sea and air transport at Darwin Port in Australia. And that Queensland base, you can tell just from this point who is in charge here. After the Americans arrived, everyone dared to come out. This is the current situation of the military exercise. Now that everyone is here, what is the next step in the performance? Hey look, I found this great and beautiful exercise plan online. Now let me read it to everyone. If there is a leak, let it be their secrets. It has nothing to do with us. So this protective dagger exercise is divided into 3 phases. First, it is the joint planning and firepower demonstration. The time is from July 13th to 18. The United States first showcased the low-wind, medium-range missile system to various countries. This low-wind missile system I mentioned last year, it is actually the Tomahawk cruise missile with a range of 500 kilometers. After launching the missile, it is the coordinated tactics of the F-35B and the aircraft carrier. You see, this is just the beginning of the exercise. The boss is showing off some skills to the younger ones. Today, as the boss, I am going to give you little ones a taste of something new. Let you witness my amazing skills. Low-altitude missile system. As soon as I press the button, the Tomahawk cruise missile is launched, hitting targets 500 kilometers away with an accuracy within 1 meter. Impressive, right? Now look over here. There is also the F-35B with vertical takeoff and landing, the 5th generation stealth fighter. Your radar can't see anything. Aha, so that means I am still the boss in this world. This starts on July 13th. The boss will launch missiles to show off skills. Then from July 14th to July 15th, the United States will conduct sinking drills near Christmas Island. What kind of basic drills? Just get a decommissioned warship right in front of everyone. I will sink it. Let everyone see my firepower is all real. How impressive is that? So you guys, my little brothers, you all damn well have to listen to me. Then, simulate using the Starlink military version to provide data support for the F-35B. Let me show you what a data link is. Not only does the Panda have one, I have one too. At the same time, we also need to test the space warfare capability to blind enemy satellites for 72 hours. What does that mean? Just use that laser to hit the satellites in the sky. Let you losers take a look. If you fight me for 72 hours, I can bring down their satellites from the sky. Just think about it, a country without satellites. Can it still go to war? They do not even have navigation. They can only look at the battle map. Hey, this is the first phase of the firepower demonstration. It is really just to scare the little brothers. No one is allowed to have any second thoughts. Then comes the second phase, July 19th to 25th. Live fire exercises and tactical confrontations. This matter has not arrived yet. It is said that the U.S. Army will conduct the first live fire test of a low-range missile system in northern Australia to demonstrate its strike capability against targets in the western Pacific, showing its ability to hit targets across the region. Hey, look at the location they chose, right in northern Australia, the closest place to us. But honestly, its range is 500 kilometers. That is out of reach for us. And after this missile is fired, he will probably get his little brothers all excited. So the participating countries are holding amphibious landing exercises on the Queensland coast. Just a bunch of little brothers. The shrimp soldiers and crab generals are conducting beach landing drills, simulating the capture of enemy islands. You said his exercise target. Whose island is he attacking? Does he dare to attack the mainland? That is impossible. Even if you gave him 100 times the courage, he would not dare to come. So I estimate that his island landing exercise is probably aimed at Taiwan. Just kidding. Then, on July 22nd, it is said that the US, Australia, and Japan will conduct a cyber warfare drill, simulating an A-drive attack on the enemy's command system, testing the capabilities of algorithms, and identifying vulnerabilities. It is about cyber warfare. The third phase is comprehensive confrontation and evacuation. That is from July 26th to August 4th. Now, this part is about the small countries that tag along. They are responsible for some logistics, like supply distribution. To put it simply, it is just a gathering. After the exercise ends, everyone gets together to eat and drink. Then they just leave without a word. Everyone goes back home, each to their own mother. Look at this feeling, this plan. It is like a group of bandits, demonstrating right at our doorstep. There is the big boss and a bunch of lackeys. So first, the boss took the stage and showed off his swordsmanship. Then a bunch of underlings cheered. And what about the second in command? He stepped up and swung his staff, and again, a crowd of underlings cheered. After it was over, these underlings also got excited. They also had to step forward and show some moves, land on the beach, set foot on a small island, and then the party reaches its climax. After that climax, we need to eat and drink. So this group of followers started to chip in. Taking care of the logistics, they invited 3 hosts, full and satisfied after a good meal. Then wipe your mouth, pat your butt, and head home. This is what human society is like. It is pretty much like what is written in those novels. If you look carefully, you will understand for yourself. This world, it is just a huge makeshift team, like a game of chess being played. Isn't this the corporate culture of NATO? Coming out for team building, right? Isn't it all the same? Hey, but look, I am saying, but again, this team building plan is actually quite good. I did not expect that something would happen to him. Oh, what happened? Well, this matter, we have to start from July 9th. You see, we just mentioned, we need to go back to the end of June. The Middle East war had just ended, and then the US was in a hurry, gathering everyone for team building in the Pacific. After July 5th, basically, the key players are all here. They have all arrived. For example, the American aircraft carrier, Australia's HMAS Adelaide, Britain's HMS Prince of Wales. They have all basically arrived. The waters in the northwest of Australia. Hey, and then that notebook and that little Han, little Day from India, have also gradually arrived. So Big Beautiful said, Wan, your Han Guang 41 military exercise can be initiated. When Wan heard this, oh, that is fine. Look, I have a group of big brothers standing behind me. I am not afraid of anything. So when Wan, on July 9th, the Han Guang number 41 exercise began. Then this big beauty said to the notebook, hey, I said notebook, send your reconnaissance plane over. Let us see how that panda reacts now. Look at this maneuver. That panda definitely won't let him go. Their radar system, missile launch signals, everything that needs to be activated should be activated. Go send a reconnaissance plane. Send me the signal source from that panda's house. And also record the signal characteristics for me. Listen to this. His face turned green. Damn it, you want me to do this? This is too risky. I have done this kind of thing before, and it never ended well. That was more than a month ago. You were the one who sent me there. That panda launched a J-15D directly from the Liaoning, an aircraft carrier electronic warfare plane. I almost got killed. You sent me there again. You should send someone else. Look, that kid is right next to us. He is also fine. You can't just catch me alone. The Piao said it himself. Stop the nonsense. I told you to go, so just go. The president of Little Han's family has changed. They are fighting internally. And your prime minister is not obedient. He even stubbornly challenged me on the tariff issue. So this time, you have to go. Your self-defense forces, including your joint staff office, they all have to listen to me. Hurry up and get moving. Well, this is unavoidable. There is no way around it. The military command is in their capable hands. No one can do anything about it. So there was nothing more to say. They just barked twice and went out to carry it out. Speaking of which, we need to mention this. The United States can indeed control the military command of the Japanese. Not just the Japanese. They can still do the same with South Korea. That is not a problem. There is quite a bit of information. I won't go into detail about it. If you want to look it up yourself, you should mainly check the 1960 U.S.-Japan Security Treaty. Also the 1952 Yoshida-Clark Agreement, and the Unified Combat Command established in 2025. Relevant regulation can conclude that this unit's routine reconnaissance forces include electronic reconnaissance aircraft units. The command authority is nominally independent. However, in practice, it is highly constrained by the U.S. military. The U.S. military utilizes joint command. Through intelligence sharing networks and technological dependencies, it can implement flexible control over Japan's reconnaissance operations. Although the Japanese constitution and laws do not grant the U.S. military direct ordering authority, its strategic interests are deeply intertwined with the U.S. military. It makes it difficult for Japan to make truly autonomous decisions during surveillance. So on July 8th, he ordered the dispatch of electronic reconnaissance aircraft near Panda's home. To investigate Panda's military deployment movements, Japan had no choice but to act according to the orders. They had to comply. But this guy also thought about it. You want me to investigate the Panda? He definitely won't have a good outcome. But he also does not dare to ignore the master's words, so this guy applied a bit of Eastern wisdom. What Eastern wisdom? Just a compromise. He dispatched a YS-11 exabytes electronic reconnaissance aircraft towards the direction of China's Diaoyu Islands to eavesdrop on our radar signals. Some people might ask, how is that possible? Isn't that the job of the reconnaissance aircraft? Well, the key lies in this YS-11 exabytes electronic reconnaissance aircraft. This aircraft has a particularly catchy name. From now on, let us refer to it as the 11 exabytes electronic reconnaissance aircraft. This aircraft is a product of the Japanese aviation industry. It was developed after the end of World War II. It is the first civilian turboprop engine used in passenger aircraft. You could say it was Mitsubishi Heavy Industries' effort after the war. The markings have been changed back to civilian use. You have to understand that before World War II, Japan was capable of building aircraft, and the Zero fighter was quite impressive as well. That was all produced by Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. Then after Pearl Harbor, the United States launched a massive bombing campaign against Japan. The Japanese were aware of that too. Then this time we are probably doomed. So I ordered the scientists back home, especially those engineers from Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, to all get into the bomb shelter. No matter what, you can't die. Because as long as we have these talents, we will still have a chance to turn things around in the future. So when you get to Japan later on, do not be fooled by how fragile they seem, even if it means mutual destruction. They won't let these scientists go to the battlefield. Not to mention scientists, they won't even let science students go to the battlefield. They know that talent is the most important resource for a country. In the end, 2 atomic bombs were dropped. Japan's surrender, so many people died. You look at his science students. And these engineers, from this batch, almost no casualties. Then the war ended. The Korean War began. The U.S. supported South Korea. You know, a large number of orders were generated in Japan. So Japan released the group of scientists, engineers, and science students that it had previously protected. The industry quickly revitalized. So this 11 exabytes electronic reconnaissance aircraft was actually called YS-11 back in the day. It was converted to civilian use by Mitsubishi Heavy Industries after the war. The first technology, so at that time, the Japanese were really biting the bullet to build this aircraft. It was not just the engineers from Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. They even invited a famous designer who had worked on the Zero fighter to get involved. A design. He had some good ideas at that time. This one, the nature of those in the industry. That is not 1 + 1 being greater than 2. It is not like 1 + 1 = 2. It is not like 1 + 1 is less than 1 either. You must have worked in an organization. You would definitely understand what I am saying. It is like when the boss assigns you a task. Originally, this task was supposed to fall on your shoulders. As the person in charge, you definitely have to do a good job on this. Can't afford to embarrass ourselves. And then this leader just suddenly thought to himself, this task is extremely important. It is our company's, our organization's biggest matter. Say, Xiao Wang, I am worried that your strength alone is not enough. I will send Xiao Li along. You two can work together. Get this done well. Aim for a result greater than 1 + 1 = 2. What do you think when you hear that? I will work with Xiao Li. Then it has to be done well. Is that my achievement or Xiao Li's? Right? If it does not go well, Whose responsibility is it, mine or Xiao Li's? Hey, you are just starting to think about it. It has been on your mind. Then, when Xiao Li arrives, you two shake hands with smiles. You exchange pleasantries. But when it comes to making a decision, Little Lai proposed a plan. You suggest a plan. You ask whose to use. If we use Little Lai's, that would be good. After this is done, the credit will belong to Little Lai. So you definitely won't agree. This is what they call the two watches effect. What does that mean? It means that a person has a pocket watch on them. They always know the time. When they take out the pocket watch and look at it, it is 12 of the clock, time to eat. But if you were to carry two pocket watches on yourself, then it is over. You take out this pocket watch and look at it. It is 12 of the clock, and you take out that pocket watch to check. It is 12:50. Which pocket watch is correct? You are done. You have no judgment. This is called the two-watch effect. So, back then, the civilian aircraft project YS-11 faced the principle of two watches. It was a clash between two competing standards. A group of engineers from Shanlin Heavy Industries and the designer of the Zero fighter, Jiro Horikoshi, ended up in internal conflict. You have to understand, internal conflicts like that are way more intense than Chinese internal struggles. Just look at World War II. How did they lose? The Japanese Navy and Army barely communicate with each other. The Air Force looks down on the Navy and also looks down on the Army. If it were not for the Emperor's influence, there would have been a civil war already. So the YS-11 project did not last long at the start. The design team split into several factions, mutually sabotaging each other, and it is filled with all sorts of inexplicable things, along with those designs that carry hidden agendas, like that Lord Erlang said, "This is our first civilian passenger aircraft after the war. But we need to use the spirit of manufacturing fighter jets to produce it, including its fuselage strength, the materials used. Do you think that is correct?" There is really no problem. The aircraft's fuselage strength is large, so it is sturdy, but this is a passenger plane. Your engine power is not enough. You are trying to take off with a hunk of iron. That hunk of iron is indeed sturdy, but the key is that he is also a but the designer does not care. The theory I proposed must stand out globally. In the end, the result is predictable. This YS-11 has no competitiveness in the civil aircraft market. It not only flies slowly, and it is still unstable, and it frequently malfunctions. Can you imagine the designer fighting all day? How can anything good come out of that? In the end, the Japanese government felt a bit embarrassed, so they used their administrative power to buy over 100 companies. Later, due to the poor quality, in the 1980s, all of them have been retired from Japan Airlines. However, the Air Self-Defense Force, you can't waste food, so they bought some YS-11s. Let us modify them. They added some electronic reconnaissance equipment, and it became the YS-11 Exabytes electronic reconnaissance aircraft. Hey, that is how this electronic reconnaissance aircraft came to be. Honestly, this performance is really disappointing. I do not usually use it much. Hey, looking at this notebook. The boss insists I go on July 9th, near Diaoyu Island, to eavesdrop on the Panda's radar signals. Or should I send him instead? That is his